Was anybody expecting that kidney punch to the, well, soul today? Because I wasn't. Henry Cavill is no longer Superman, and James Gunn just has some type of plan that DC fans are very, very angry about on the internet. More right after this. What is happening, people? K-Wing here, and I'm going to be honest, I didn't see this coming. I thought that Henry Cavill, Gal, and Jason Momoa would return, and maybe Michael Keaton would be Batman, sort of, and they'd introduce a Terry McGinnis character, and, well, I was totally wrong. In the back of my mind, I was thinking very negatively that, you know, if I came into the DC film universe and I was going to write, I would like to tell stories about younger characters too and just recast everybody, which would make me number one on an Angry Mods list. And, you know, that's exactly what James Gunn did. So I'm very angry at myself for ever having that thought cross my mind. But in James Gunn's defense, this is all I'm going to say, because he made another stupid decision involving another Superman project that should have been dead a long, long time ago, is it does make sense from a writer's point of view to want to use younger actors in the role of iconic superheroes for a 10-year plan. So I will give James Gunn that. What I will not give James Gunn any respect for is the fact that that vapid, horrible, evil human being, Quixotes, is still allowed to write a very polarizing, bad Superman movie for J.J. Abrams. Now, I could say a lot of terrible things about Quixotes being anti-American, being anti-cop, anti-firefighter, anti-EMT, and anti-first responders of 9/11, but I'm not going to do that. I will say that him writing a Superman movie would be like if the devil himself, meaning evil incarnate, wrote a book about how loving, sweet, gentle, and caring kittens are from the devil himself. And that's all I'm going to say on the subject. Let's talk about what James Gunn did to shock and break the internet yesterday, right during one of my streams that turned me into a deer in a headlights, and I just froze completely. Like, I wasn't expecting this news at all, especially after DC and Warner Brothers made it official on their social media and all their outlets that Henry Cavill was back as their Superman. And, well, that's what the plan was, provided that Black Adam succeeded. And in the back of my mind, I knew if Black Adam failed, that would be the last we would see of Henry Cavill's Superman. You didn't get Zack Snyder back, and you're not going to get your Snyderverse actors either, because most likely everyone is going to be replaced with younger characters. And some of these really popular DC actors will be recast in older roles to fit their age. So Jason Momoa likely will become Lobo, and maybe Gal Gadot will end up becoming Hippolyta. I don't know. So let's get into it. What's going on with James Gunn's Superman? Well, first and foremost, he's writing it. So the writer behind the really beloved characters of the Guardians of the Galaxy MCU movies is writing his Superman. A little background on James Gunn. He loves Superman. He's been a fan of Superman ever since he saw a man fly in the Richard Donner Superman movie. He was a big fan of Christopher Reeve's Superman, and he probably liked Bryan Singer's Superman movie as well. So where I'm going with this is James Gunn wants a hopeful, happy, optimistic, and a Superman that the world can aspire to be like. So basically, it's another Christopher Reeve Superman. And Henry just not only does his age not fit the bill, but unfortunately, that's the Superman that people don't see with Henry Cavill, even though that's the Superman movie he always wanted to make, and he probably would have made with David Zaslav's former team in charge of DC Films before James Gunn took the reins. Now, James Gunn kind of let Henry Cavill fans down a little gently, saying that he has a role in mind for Henry down the road, and most likely that role will have to do with either Kingdom Come or some type of Crisis on Infinite Earths or Final Crisis movie with Henry back as an older, more powerful Superman from those storylines. I'm just going to throw it out there. That's probably what's going to happen with Henry. But it's going to be years. So just, stay tuned for that. As for James Gunn's Superman, he's going to be younger. He's going to be a wet-nosed reporter, Clark Kent, who's probably going to be bumbling and clumsy because of the inspiration that James Gunn had from Christopher Reeves and Superman stories from that era of the 70s and 80s, which James Gunn, was very a big fan of that kind of stuff, which you've seen from his Suicide Squad movie, which took inspiration from the 80s Suicide Squad comics. That team with Bloodsport and all those other characters. So it would make sense that he would be borrowing inspiration from what I call the Bronze Age of DC Comics. In the Superman movie, what we know is that it will take place in Metropolis, and Superman will meet a very young Lois Lane. One thing that I would like to know about, though, is what are they going to do for a villain? Are they going to do the typical Lex Luthor thing? Or are they actually going to give us stakes in a Superman film and a villain to root for? And I'm just going to pitch this idea right now. I would love to see Superman fight Lobo, and Lobo being Jason Momoa, because it would be a really interesting film to see this younger, probably not super buff Superman going up against a stacked villain or anti-hero like Jason Momoa's Lobo. I think that would be fun. And it would give the audience like something to really look forward to, as opposed to just another Lex Luthor or maybe a Kryptonite Island or something along those lines. But anyway, now I want to hear from all of you guys and gals. How do you feel about the announcement of the Superman reboot? Are you on board with it? Are you devastated? Do you think Henry will come back and play an older Superman in like a crisis event or an endgame scenario? Let me know in the comment section below. I have a lot of mixed response. I was deer in the headlights when I heard the news. And now I've had time to kind of like, settle in and see what happens and do my best to try to report some stuff for you. So I hope everybody has a wonderful Christmas. Thanks so much for watching or listening, and keep it locked here for more news on everything DC and Batman and movie, video games, animation, and occasionally DC Comics. Later, Gothamites.